Well, thank you for joining me and a good evening. Happy Friday. Weekend. The weekend is here already. Looking forward to having a nice restful weekend and watching the rugby. My treat. So this Facebook Live is kind of running on from last night where I talked about toxic relationships and control, which is always a very muted subject. People don't like to discuss control because of the obvious reasons. But I had some comments today from somebody who said that for all of the list of things that can happen in an abusive relationship where control takes over, she identified to every single one of those absolutely fully and completely recognized that that was her relationship and that's where she was trapped. All of those things had happened to her and more. And she's out of that relationship now and doing really, really well for herself and married and to a good guy and really happy. So that's a great result. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was after that Facebook Live last night, the same lady sent me a message that she sent me after I did some therapy with her through the summer, and she had been in towards the end of an abusive relationship, really. And she emailed me and she said, "I'm going to send you this again," because she said after the Facebook Live last night, she said this was really how she felt. So I want to read you what she said and just go on to another couple of things in the hope to encourage you that if you've got issues in your life, that you're going to be able to do something about them and take responsibility for making choices for your life. So this is what she sent me, and I want to read it to you word for word because I think she's written it rather well. It only takes a minute, but she said, I noticed a small damp spot in the corner of the ceiling in the lounge. It caught my attention, but then I chose to forget about it. It was only when it got really big I noticed it again. It was dark and brown and looked a bit ugly. I tutted and said to myself, I need to get someone in to look at that. Months later, I felt a wet spot on the carpet as I walked through barefooted. Had I spilt something? Then the drip hit the side of my face. I looked up and saw the water gathering on the ceiling as another drip caught me on the nose. I tutted again and went to fetch a bucket to catch the drips. I'll phone someone tomorrow and I'll get them to look at that. It wasn't till the following Monday I called the plumber. Every time I had thought to call him, I'd been distracted. This thought slipped my mind, and besides, I didn't really use that room that much. He was busy, but would call in a few days. The next day, I came home from work to find that the ceiling had collapsed completely, all of it. The water was pouring into my home and the house was flooded. The damage was to cost me thousands, a small fortune. My home was ruined. And she told me that this was a metaphor for her life, that the house, the home was her. And something had started to go wrong that she'd noticed and neglected to put it right. And every time she saw it, she made excuses until everything collapsed around her and everything was ruined. And it was kind of too late for her. And what she wanted me to say was, you should notice small things before they get out of control and put those small things right before they do collapse and until your home is flooded and ruined, because that obviously can be irreparable if not completely devastate your life. And I thought that was a lovely metaphor, and it was lovely to hear from her today and to know that she's doing really well. But what I wanted to say about that, which I've alluded to before and probably directly spoken about making changes in your life. If you've got situations in your life where you are unhappy, if you're single and not in a relationship, if you're in a relationship and you're not happy and you're bitter, or if you're having problems in your job, there's all these things that go on in our life that we don't like. And what we need to do is make decisions to change. And again, I've said about making decisions is very, very difficult. It's difficult because we don't like to make decisions. And our status quo bias wants us to stay where we are, not change, and live in misery, even though it's not nice. We're not going to die, stay where we are. And we have all these cognitive functions that cause us to stay where we are. But we always have the choice to make decisions. And those decisions are the decisions that affect our tomorrows and the way that we map our life out. But what we rarely do is measure the costs of those decisions. And I've said to you before, if you're in a bad relationship, what are your options? If you are single, what are your options? If you're having problems at work, what are your options? Write down your options and write down the costs and the benefit of those decisions. The costs and benefits of changing, and the costs and the benefit of staying doing exactly what you are, and weigh them all up in detail and look at what your options are to make changes and choices for your life to make it better. Your alternative is just to stay exactly where you are, and you'll notice that little stain on the ceiling and it gets bigger, and then perhaps you may put a bucket out because it feels like you're compensating somehow for the problems that you've got. But one day you will come home and the ceiling will have collapsed and your house will be flooded, because that's the natural progression of time and how things work out. And it's worth thinking about, well, what's going on in my life that is only a stain on the ceiling, or is it dripping through? Or is it ready for the ceiling to collapse? You know where you are in life and you know what your situation is. But what I really want to finish this live with is a story that I heard many, long time ago, many years ago. I heard this story and it kind of touched me, and it came back to mind today, which is why I wanted to share it, because it's weekend and I like stories. So the story is that every night at midnight, you will get £86,400 in your bank account. So when you wake up in the morning, your bank account has got £86,400 in it. Now, you can go and spend that money, and you can spend it on anything you like. You can invest it, you can waste it, you can buy things that you like, you can do whatever you want with it, for £86,400. But when it gets to midnight that day, whatever's left in that account will disappear. So if you've only spent £1,000, whatever's left will disappear. If there's only £1,000 left in the account, at midnight it will disappear. So the account will be empty. But the good news is, and it is good news, is that 1 second past midnight, 1 second later, your account will get £86,400 in it again. And then you've got time to spend that money. But when it gets to midnight the following day, whatever's left will disappear. But then 1 minute past midnight, the same will happen again. So you get the idea that just midnight every night, your bank account will be emptied, but you'll get £86,400. So what's the relevance of that? Well, the relevance is you never know when the £86,400 isn't going to drop into your account. You can kind of take it for granted that it'll always happen, but there's always that thought that one day it's not going to be there. And what's the relevance of 86,400? Well, that's how many seconds there are in a day. And every day we're blessed to have 86,400 seconds. And hopefully tomorrow we'll be blessed with another 86,400 seconds. And so it goes on. But one day, as it is for all of us, we're not going to get those 86,400 seconds. And that's a fact of life. So the question is, and we don't really know how many days and how many 86,400 seconds we've got, but the question is what are you spending your 86,400 seconds on? Are you making the choices to spend it wisely with a happy life? Or are you investing that in misery and uncomfortableness and stuff that you can never get back, you know? So think about that. I mean, I've not forgotten that story, and I think it's relevant. But I want to invest my time in a way that's good, that makes me feel good. That when I look back, I can be proud of how I've spent my time. But the point is here: make the choices for your life to get your life right, to get your life in order, so that when you're spending your £86,400 tomorrow, those seconds, you're spending them in a way that improves your life, that improves the life of people around you, and makes the world a better place. And if you do that, then the world's going to be better for everybody else, and it'll be better for me. So I like the idea of that. So have a think about that. Remember, you make the choices for your life which create your future. And if your future's not good now, then stop procrastinating, make the changes, do something about it to put it right, and have a better future. So thank you for watching. I hope those stories are something that you can think about over the weekend, something to make you think about your place and your situation and what's going on for you. And I hope they encourage you to actually put your life in perspective. If you've got a great life and you're spending that 86,400 really well, that's amazing. That's really good. You carry on doing that and try and improve on it. But if you're not, have a think. So if you've got any questions for me, just bob them on Facebook Messenger, direct message me, give me a comment on my posts. I always pick those up, and I'll always try and answer any questions that I get as soon as I can. You know where I am. If you want a longer chat, give us a shout, click on my banner, book an appointment, whatever it is that suits you. But I'm here to help you, and hopefully, if you're not doing so good, we can make you do a little bit better. In fact, a lot better. So have a great weekend, and I will see you soon with another Facebook Live. Take care.